Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Stretford Paddock. I am Alex, and I'm here bringing you the latest Manchester United news this morning. Hope everybody's good. Not much news in terms of the results from last night. Liverpool scraped past Wolves. Obviously, a shocking injury to Rui Patricio. There is good news about him. It looks like he is okay and well in hospital after the head collision last night, but not much news concerning Manchester United because Liverpool are miles behind, to be honest, so that really doesn't affect us in terms of our league position. But there is news around some of our players. We've got news on Donny van der Beek. We've got some updates on Erling Haaland, and I'll go through a little bit on Hannibal's brand spanking new contract that he was given yesterday. Again, hope everyone's okay. So let's get straight into this with Donny van der Beek. Loads of comments already. Make sure you're getting into the comments and getting your opinions in. And I said, yes, Mitz, I'm in a hat. This is the thing. I'm in a hat. Donny van der Beek, here he is there. As you can see, he's only played 13 games so far this season. And this is a report, look, it's from the Daily Star, but this has then been picked up by a lot of newspapers. It's been picked up by the Mirror, been picked up by the Express. Everywhere that's not very good has then picked this up and ran with it a little bit. There has been some quotes about him maybe hitting rock bottom a little bit. He's not really doing too well, and he's having to build himself up from nothing, Donny van der Beek. But as you've seen there, played only 13 games this season, 1 goal, no assists, after the £40 million transfer this summer. And look, what it is today, what this article is Donny van der Beek's not playing a lot of football. Right, so we need to write something about Manchester United. Let's just say he wants to leave. That's all it is. There's no actual stuff that says Donny van der Beek wants to leave, has asked to leave, has leaked anything that's going to be leaving. His agent hasn't said anything. Nothing has been said. And I've got, again, a sneaky feeling about this injury about Donny van der Beek, that it's go away and get on that treadmill and get running. Because every single time that he's played for Manchester United, when he started, he's played 60 minutes and looked absolutely knackered. Every time he's played in the Champions League, he's tailed off in them games. He's had to be brought off. And I think Ollie, look, when he came in, he wanted the most aggressive, the fittest Manchester United team around, the best team in the league. And if Donny van der Beek can't do that, then he's not going to play for Manchester United at the minute. He can't have players starting on the pitch that he has to bring off after an hour. He's not going to have people coming on. And I think Donny van der Beek is one of those players that wants to start football games. I don't think he comes on and changes a game. I think he's someone that starts. I really don't think that there's anything in this. I think that this is a case of let's Donny van der Beek settle a little bit. I think that maybe he got signed a year too early. I think that Ollie took the opportunity to get him. I think the deal with Edwin van der Sar, where he said, look, we've got this Donny van der Beek. Other clubs are in for him. You can get him on a pretty good deal. You've got to get him right now. I think I went, okay, he's a good footballer. He's a very, very good footballer. We've seen glimpses of that this season. And I think that United just went for it last year and grabbed it. But this article around him wanting to leave, there's nothing behind that. And this is what happens all the time, especially when it's a quiet thing. Especially when United have a game like they did the weekend where it was pretty good news in all, a 1-0 result against West Ham, the fifth best team in the league this season. To get a 1-0 result is good news, but it was nothing special. Nothing really happening. We're not really doing anything. And they need to fill the time. They need to fill something. There's no other contract news coming out, so let's pluck one of Manchester United's star players, one of Manchester United's big signings, and say he's unsettled and wants to leave. I don't get. This is just what's going to happen around Manchester United. I don't think there's anything in Donny van der Beek wanting to leave. I think it would be ridiculous to let him leave after a year. I think he needs time to settle. I mean, look at he's played 13 games this season with Manchester United. That's 12. He's had around 12 appearances in the Premier League. That's the same amount as Cancelo did last season for Manchester City. Look at Cancelo this season. He's a stalwart, potentially the best right back in the league. He's played left back and what looks one of the best left backs in the league. He's a fantastic footballer, but needs time to settle into things. You can't just play these teams, especially Donny van der Beek, who didn't play since March. You have to give them time. You have to let him settle. You have to let him get his fitness together. And I don't think that Donny van der Beek's going anywhere. But these rumours are going to come around. He needs time to settle in. Let's not rush things with Donny van der Beek. Donny van der Beek, I don't think he's going anywhere. But these rumours, all these stories around Manchester United are always going to constantly be around. Moving on from that story this morning, we have, what do we have, Callum? Just a quick one. We have Hannibal. That's what we're going for next. Hannibal Mejbri, new contract. We've got the transfer news coming up very, very shortly. Hannibal Mejbri signed a new contract yesterday, and it's a bit of a strange one on the United website because they've said he's signed a new long-term deal, but haven't said a year. They haven't said when it's until 2022, it's a year to 2023. It's not been anything like that. It's just a case of Hannibal Mejbri signed a new deal. That's all it's been. This is a quote from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that he said when Hannibal got brought up to train with the first team. The young kids who've moved shoulder up with us, Hannibal will join us and we'll keep them with us for a while. It's the next step in their development. We've got to take that hit when they play for the reserves. They have to travel by themselves. It's a nice step for them. They've done really, really well. Yeah, a lot of people in the comments, he is a fantastic, fantastic talent. He's looked very, very good for the under-18s and then the under-23s. But that step up to the Premier League, that step up to adult football is a huge, huge step up. It's not just a case of throw him in there. He's a very, very slight player. He's not built. He's not the kind of player you could just throw in there. You've seen Shola Shoretire step up and play a couple of minutes. You've seen Ahmad play a couple of minutes, and they look like their age. They look small. They don't. Look at Mason Greenwood now compared to when he first came to the team. Massive frame on him now. He's a big lad. He's stronger. He can control people off with that. Hannibal can't do that yet, and I think as a number 10 in the Premier League, especially when you've got Bruno, and especially when he's not coming into a position that we are short of. He's got to improve. But Hannibal Mejbri, obviously a very, very good young talent. I think United have gone down this path the last few years with some of the signings they've made. They have made a lot of signings in terms of they need these younger players in around the 16, 17. Amad Diallo coming in at 18. They've got them there because they know that they may not be able to spend a lot of money. They also know that they aren't going to be able to do the same kind of deals they used to do with European clubs for under-18s players with the new Brexit rules. They needed to get these players in early from European clubs. It's not going to be the case of you'll be able to get someone in from Italy or from Spain under the age of 18 dead quickly. So these were the steps they took. They got in Palestri, they got in Mejbri, they've got in the likes of Ahmad. They've got they've signed up these players. And it's always a good move for Manchester United because, do you know what? The cost of him, it was under a £10 million signing for a young lad. There's always the chance that they become your Paul Pogba, that either is a very, very good player and that does well in the first team, or you do what you did, or you can cash in and you can make some money on these players and then invest that into the first team where you need strength. That's the whole point. That's what we need to do, and that's what Ollie and the Manchester United board have been going down the last few years, whether it's right or wrongly, but they are investing in more and more youth players. Next story this morning I have, of course, we're going to talk about him. Again, this is going to be worse, I reckon, than Sancho last summer. Erling Haaland. More reports going on about it. Rio spoke to that man, that Stephen Howson guy. You may have seen him before. He spoke to him on his podcast yesterday and just said, go and get him. Just do what you can. Don't forget, it doesn't matter about Raiola, whatever the fee is, go and get him. There's been reports out this morning in the MEN saying Haaland would want £350,000 a week. Again, it's the MEN. Who knows whether that's true? Other reports coming out from the Express and things like that saying that United are looking at moving on players in terms to get the wage bill for him. So Paul Pogba, Edison Cavani, move them on, clear up the wage bill so we can get in an Erling Haaland. I think that we are going to need to see one of the big stars go in terms to get this in, but I don't know. I don't think Paul Pogba. I think there's something around Paul Pogba. I'm not too sure what's going to go on with him. I think that there's a chance he might sign a new contract if we can't sort this out. I think that unless someone sorts a swap deal, I don't think anyone else has got the cash to spend 60, 70 million on a Paul Pogba, 60, 70, 80 million. I think we want probably closer to 100. I don't think anyone's going to have the cash to do that. So moving these players on is going to be tough. In terms of Edison Cavani, yes, he's on a big wage bill, but I think it's the case this summer with all the cash flow issues of clubs. You've seen what United have done in terms of taking in loans to cover their wage bill at the moment in terms of just their day-to-day staff. The cash isn't going to be around. So spending 100 million, 200 million in the transfer market is going to be very, very tough. But all the reports going around, Haaland's the man that everyone thinks is going to do things. You'd take him tomorrow, wouldn't you? He's an unbelievable talent. He's scoring. I mean, look at that game record. That's in domestic competitions this year. 20 games played, 19 goals, 4 assists. It's scary numbers for someone at the age of 20. That breaking that record in the Champions League, I think he scored 2 goals in 4 consecutive games in the Champions League. No player has ever done that. He's a ridiculous talent. And what's crazy about all this is that all I keep seeing is that everyone wants Jadon Sancho. Marco Reus is amazing. Donny, Erling Haaland scoring thousands of goals. Dortmund are like 4th. They're not that good. They're miles behind Bayern Munich. I don't get how you can get these fantastic players, score so many goals, and be that far behind. There's something strange about what goes on at Dortmund. And, United, same, probably in the similar kind of position to Dortmund in terms of bridging the gap to that top team. It's mad that they've got players like Erling Haaland, who seems to score ridiculous goals out of nowhere every single week, and they're still so far behind. But yeah, Erling Haaland, I think that, look, you've got Manchester City going to be in for him. They need a new striker, because whether they're going to trust Jesus, I don't know. Whether they break their wage structure and break their way, they've not spent over 60 million on a player yet. Do they break that and get Erling Haaland? Yet to know. There's also reports on Chelsea this week, whether Timo Werner goes on a swap deal with him. There's all sorts of things going around. Everyone is trying whatever they can to get Erling Haaland. And I think the Premier League is going to be the destination, because I think the Premier League is the only place with a bit of cash. You look at the top 2 teams in Spain, they're both struggling for cash. You look what's going on in Italy. Juventus see them all over the place. Inter Milan can't do it. They've gone backwards. They've got, they're doing well this season, but they're £200 million in debt. They're going to have to start selling people. They've still not even paid off Lukaku. So where's he going to go to? Who's going to be able to afford Erling Haaland? Look, I think Manchester United are going to be in for him, and I'm not too sure whether United can afford him right now. Right, let's have a look at your comment. Minnie said, we need a CDM, not a striker. I completely agree. Well, no, I think we need both. This is the thing. People saying, we need that, we need that. We need everything. We're not 1 or 2 players away from competing with Manchester City. The reason City are winning the league by 15 points, whatever it is this season, is that they have 2 players in every single position. And to be honest, their second string is better than a lot of our first string players. That's what's making them so good. We need 2 or 3 players in every single position. It's not a case of this. Erling Haaland would come in. We'd have to let go of a Martial or a Cavani. We need 2 players. People saying get rid of Donny. Look what City have got. The City have got 4. They had De Bruyne out for months. Gundogan stepped in. They've had Fernandinho out. Rodri's there. They've got players, 2 very, very good players in every single position. United aren't going to do it by just having one. That's not how it works. United need a lot of players. And like you said, United need winners. Is Haaland a winner? I think. But you need, was a lot of the Liverpool team winners? I don't think so. That Liverpool team was a young team that hadn't really done too much. They had 1 or 2 players that had done it. They got on that role and did it. I think United need to do, United need good runs in the cup competitions this year to kind of get these guys used to winning trophies. But look, United need players. United need players all over the place. We need to strengthen in 4 or 5 positions. I completely agree. It's where you think that necessity comes from. I think we probably could say we need another centre half. We definitely need another midfielder. Talked about Pogba leaving. We need another creative player to replace that. You've seen how poor we've been with him out injured and what we do. We need another striker, because you've seen that Martial might not be doing it, and we've still not got anybody that plays on the right. We've got Diallo, but he's very, very young. He's played what now? He's played 45 minutes the other day. He's not played lots of football. We can't just throw him in. He looks very, very good, but he's not going to change. I don't think he's going to change anything too quickly for us. He needs to be bedded in, and we can't just be relying on these 18, 19-year-olds. We need players that have done it a little bit. We need experienced footballers. What else have we got? Kessie. Do you know what? Look, I've not watched a lot of AC Milan. Kessie really impressed me when he played the other night against Manchester United. He put a lot of energy and almost ran that midfield on his own for AC Milan, covered a lot of ground. Yes, United were depleted, and I think that if you'd have had a Pogba and Bruno in there, it would have been a harder job for him. But he did very, very well the other night. He spoke in the past about wanting to come to Manchester United and how it'd be a dream move for him. I think there was rumours of Chelsea being in from last season, and he said, you know what, United's my dream move to the Premier League. Be a good player, but again, what are the priorities? How much money are we going to have to spend? Look, if you look at what Man United have done for the past, since Fergie's gone, the most we've spent net is 120 million. That's as much as we're going to spend. And after a pandemic, it's not going to be much more than that. I'd say maybe 80 to 100 million spent net. So if we get rid of Paul Pogba and get 80 million in, then you're looking at 180 million. That doesn't get you Haaland, Sancho and a centre half. And now you want a midfielder as well. I don't think it gets you 4 players for 180 million. not the players that people keep listing. And whether we've got the patience to sign more players of the ilk of Dan James that are 15, 20 million and put a risk in there, I don't know. But United aren't going to sign 4 players at £50 million plus. It's just not going to happen. It's not happened for a long time, and any time it has, we've sold. It's £80, £100 million. That's all we're going to spend. That's all we're going to have in the bank. I don't think so. People saying Adama a great shout. Look, I watched him last night against Liverpool. There's the lack of end product there is frustrating, and people were talking about Jesse Lingard at Manchester United not having a goal or assist in 12 months, and I think that a lot of that is down to the fact that Manchester United is a tough place to be. Wolves is nowhere near the same kind of pressure and has done nothing. He's not had a goal or assist in a year for Wolverhampton Wanderers. I don't think that, and we're going to spend 50, 60 million pound on him. That's what it's going to cost. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure Adama Traore is the one anymore. If we could get him for 15, 20 million, great, do it. But not for that much. Let's have a quick look more at some of your comments. Crone looked good the other night for Porto, and he'd be cheap. I agree. I mean, all these players we could look at would be potentially cheap. I just don't think we're going to get them on the cheap. I think that Man United, as soon as they phone up, they go, yep, yeah, that's 50, 60 million. That's 60 million pounds. I think that's the way it is. So all these players on the cheap, we have to do a very, very good scouting job, keep it under the radar in terms to get these players from 20, 30 million. Sarr, I think that you potentially look into the Championship. That's where you get the, you look at what Manchester United did in terms of getting Dan James. Going into the Championship and trying to get players, they're not going to be expecting the big bills. I think that's your place that you could potentially get some cheaper deals. But again, it would be absolute madness if United went into the Championship. You look how much shit Dan James has got. I don't think that would change anywhere else. Neves, yes, a very good player. Does he fit? Do we need someone a bit more hardworking? Do we need someone like a Rice or a Kante? I think more about that. How are we discussing Championship players? Look, be plenty Championship players. Gini Wijnaldum got relegated by Newcastle. With Newcastle, went down to the Championship. They signed him. He's a Champions League winner. Look, you can get good players from relegated teams going to the Championship. Do not knock that. Garner will come back next year. I hope so. Has to be Sancho. Is it Sancho? Is it Haaland? I think at best we're getting one of these big superstars. That's all we're going to get. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me this morning. Make sure you've liked the video. If you've already not, make sure you're getting in the comments as well. If you've not already, head over to TikTok and give us a follow. We're doing some daft stuff on there. I've been taking the mick out of Stephen Howson on there. He's not very happy. So if you want to laugh at Stephen Howson as well, go over to Stretford Paddock TikTok. It's Stretford Paddock without the O in the Paddock. Go over there. Go and check that stuff out. Make sure you're checking out what we're doing. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Loads of good stuff. All the build-up for the AC Milan game coming up this week. So make sure you're subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell. Like I said, I've been Alex, and I'll see you next time.